Hey John, so I've done the hospital run and it's about tea time now, so I'm in the shed. So as promised, I'll show you where I'm at. So obviously we've done all the painting. I've managed to find two pairs of indicators that I got knocking about in the loft. I need to go on this thing. Got the choke cable, can you remember it was missing, so I've got one of them. So basically I've sort of got nuts and bolts done, everything's ready to sort of more or less go back together. I've got a few bits and bobs I've got to fabricate and sort out, broken backlight and what have you, but what I've done is, that's the engine so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to reconnect those, because I had to cut them off to get that out to paint it. Absolutely ridiculous, there was no way of getting it out. So oh dear, I've done the last few, coated the last few bolts that I needed to do. So obviously frames down there powder coated, racks in there powder coated, swing arms powder coated, two new tyres to go on it, and there's all the rest of the stuff. So basically we've got to build a bike and well, hang on, a few odds and sods in there, and there's a few odds and sods in the other room, but yeah, so what I'm going to do now is get that, just do that wire in there, and then get the, hopefully get the frame, get the brackets sorted out and get the frame onto the engine, get it on the red jack like what you've got on the lift here, and then I'm going to suspend it and make it safe from I might tie down or I might go up, because I've got hooks on this lift here. So as you can see, I've got the motor McCluss lifts in here, this lifts in here, and then this is the big draper one, and this will take a glide or a wing. But right, it's going to be a hectic 5 months, John. So this is my plan of action. So what we're going to do is, I think the only thing that's going to bugger me on this is the foot pegs. I've got to get some foot pegs, and I've got to get the measurement right and the spring, correct spring and everything for the foot pegs for the passenger, for the rider foot pegs. But we can more or less get this done. Then it's going to be the LML. So like as promised, I'll dig out the footage and I'll upload it to this channel so you can see how bad that thing was and what, you know, what I did. But fuck me, that's going to be a bastard. There's wiring to do on that and all sorts. So get the shit out of the way first. So my plan for the 5 months is, because you know me, I sort of chop and change, but sometimes I've got to and what have you. But in my mind, what I've got is to get the 1200 Bandit, the 600 Bandit, and my ZZR to a rolling chassis, all three of them, and leave all the bodywork till last. So I'll do bodywork for two back, because it makes sense to paint in and do bodywork in one like mega session. With the ZZR, there's only the tank to do and the mirrors, okay, because the rest of the bodywork's brand new. So that's an easy one, really. The two Bandits is complete mud guards, body kits, you name it. So I'm going to leave that till last, because if it comes to sort of later on where, because obviously I'm going to move, aren't I? Where I've got to move stuff, at least I can move a rolling chassis, you know, instead of moving engines and fuck me. So that's the way I'm going about it. And if I get the bodywork, you know, if I get all three bikes done, then so be it. If not, what I might do is prep the bodywork and get somebody else to paint it, so that all of those bikes are done. I mean, this is what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, I can get them all finished and get everything moved out, and sort of get you know, on the road to moving. So that's my plan. So what I'm going to do now, get this wiring done, get the frame on. I'm going to do whatever I can, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I've done on the bike, because I can't record everything, mate, because we'll be here forever, and I'm on a bit of a timeline. What I will show you is what I've done is, like, the linkages, obviously they were all clean painted, so the bushes, these things, they've all been greased, they're ready to go back on. Basically it's just putting it back together. So, like, with the bolts that are going through the shocks, all the bolts where they're going to be sort of internally, they're going to be greased. Obviously bearings greased, just the normal run-of-the-mill stuff that you've got to do, putting it back together. It's not going to take long. I've got some time now to crack on with this, but I'm not going to rush it. I'd like to get this sort of more or less wrapped up for the weekend and have it going. So I'm on it, mate. I'll do bits, show you, and then you'll see what you took to pieces go back together, because I've got a video on the computer there of two clowns taking one of these to pieces to go back to and have a look and make sure we're putting it back the right way. So, right, I'm on it, mate. Okay, so I've done the wiring. So I've just loosely put this front bracket on because we've got to get the frame back on. It's going to be a bit of a juggle on my own, so I'm going to now get the frame on. It's come out quite good, hasn't it, John? Look at that. One thing I'm going to say, when you hear them going one day build and all that bollocks, you don't build a fucking motorbike in a day. So that really does piss me off, because that ain't building a bike. This, what I'm doing now, is building a bike, or rebuilding a bike. Okay, so we haven't rebuilt the motor, but this is a rebuild. Okay, a build on a bike is when you're modifying and you're taking a frame and you're building a bike. That is a build that takes fucking months, sometimes years. This one day build business, what a load of fucking shite. So yeah, got that one off my chest. So let's see if we can get this frame back on. Okay, John, so the frame's on, but I've not tightened everything up. This is just loose in case, how can you put it, I've got a shifty stuff, or if I've made a mistake I want to whip the engine out again, you never know. So not tightening everything up. So let's have a look. So there we go, motor's back in. It was pretty easy. What you've got to remember is you've got fresh paint on here on your engine, and you've got a freshly powder coated frame, so it's a tight fit anyway. You've just got to sort of give it a bit of persuasion with one of these, with a rubber mallet. Just not hammer the shit out of it, just give it a little bit of persuasion just to get over there. And basically I've got bolts through. It's not going anywhere. Got the correct bolts in the correct way, but it's just not tightened up. So what I'm going to do now is probably one of the most important things you do when you're building a bike, and that is have a coffee and have a fag. So I'm going to do that, then I'm going to get it suspended with some you know what I mean, ratchet straps on the beams, like I did with the 600. And then I'm going to whip the red jack underneath it and get it supported. Then hopefully we'll get the swing arm on. Again, not really tight. I want to get that whereas it's nicely moving but not sloppy, but not too tight that it's going to not move. Do you know what I mean? So that's the next job. So fag coffee, and I'll come back and I'll show you hopefully, fingers crossed, the swing arm on. Okay, so this is where I've got to, John. Made some pretty decent progress in the few hours I've been in here, so I'll show you. So motor's back in, swing arms on, suspension's on. Obviously everything's not sort of tightened torqued up, but I'm just getting it, whereas we're starting to see some bits go off the table and onto the bike, so it's not it's not going anywhere. Basically, if the hydraulics went on the table tonight, well, in fact, I'm going to put the safety bar through. I don't know whether you've seen on these lifts, you've got a we've got a safety, so I'm just going to whip the safety bar through there, look, and it's supported, it's not going anywhere. The problem was, if you look down there, you can see where the sump plug is, because obviously the belly pan goes under there and you've got a flat surface, but I'm not putting the belly pan on now, because I've got to actually, I'm a twat, because I could have nipped that up and put the belly pan on and had a flat surface, because we've got to fill it with oil, haven't we, because we drain the oil. But I'll put a few bits and bobs back on. So there it is. It's I think it looks pretty cool so far. It's a lot better than what it is when we took it to bits, isn't it? God. But this is the satisfying part, putting it back together, and I'm hoping by, what day is it today? By Tuesday. I'm hoping by Friday we might have it running. Well, see how far I get. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably take the tyres tomorrow and see if I can get the tyres on. If not, I'll nip them down to Russ, see if Russ will chuck them on for me, and that's it. We can get the rest of the bike built. So we're on it, mate. So I'll just probably over the next couple of days, John, I'll just keep uploading and showing you, you know, sort of depending how fast I get it back together. So just keep looking at, and hopefully by the end of the week we should have a bike. All right, mate. See you later.